Welcome to Under Baobab Skies. Tonight, we journey to the windswept plains of Namibia, a land where the earth is wide. The sun stretches endlessly across the horizon, and the whispers of cattle guards echo across the vast open grasslands. Here, life is measured not by clocks, but by the rhythm of hooves against dry soil, the steady rise and fall of the sun, and the careful watch of those entrusted with the safety of the herds. This is a world where the fragile balance between survival and loss is tested daily, where the men and women of the Herero people rise with the first light to meet the demands of the land, the animals, and the skies above. Let's take a moment. Imagine a fire crackling gently as the night breathes around us. In this silence, you might feel the wind brushing across the Namibian plains, carrying with it the scent of dry grass and distant acacia trees. You are entering a realm where every step matters, where each decision to herd, to watch, and to protect is woven into the very tapestry of life. This is the world of the Herero cattle guards, guardians of livestock, stewards of tradition, and witnesses to the harsh, profound beauty of the desert landscape. From the moment dawn first touches the horizon, the cattle guards begin their vigil. They are nomadic, moving with their herds across the semi-arid plains, tracing ancient paths known only to those who have grown with the land. Every morning, they must read the subtle signs of the environment, the fresh tracks of predators, the wandering paths of the herds, and the hidden caches of water that sustain life in this unforgiving terrain. Their eyes are sharp, their senses attuned to the rhythms of nature, and their bodies conditioned to endure the relentless heat, the biting winds, and the ever-present threat of drought. The life of a cattle guard is far from idle. It's a profession demanding endurance, skill, and constant vigilance. Every day is a negotiation with nature itself. Lions and hyenas roam the veldt at night, and raiding parties from neighboring clans might test the resolve of those protecting the herds. For the Herero cattle are more than just livestock. They are a living symbol of wealth, status, and social bonds. Their safety is directly linked to the prosperity of the family and the cohesion of the entire community. To be a cattle guard is to bear the weight of responsibility, not just for the animals, but for the well-being of an entire social network. Let's pause again. Listen to the distant lowing of cattle carried on the wind, a sound as old as the plains themselves. The Herero people have moved with their animals for generations, mastering the secrets of the land, understanding where to find life-sustaining water, and recognizing the subtle signs that predict the coming of rain or drought. Every blade of grass, every faint path, every small rise in the terrain holds meaning. To an untrained eye, the plains might appear empty and unforgiving. But for the cattle guard, every detail is a piece of a puzzle, and every misstep carries immense risk. In this journey, we will follow the daily life of a Herero cattle guard, witnessing the trials of dawn patrols, the tension of defending against predators, the resilience needed to survive the harsh desert, and the cultural rituals that shape life on these plains. By sharing these experiences, we enter a world governed not by modern conveniences, but by the intricate and sometimes fragile relationship between humans, animals, and the land. This is a meditation on endurance, vigilance, and finding harmony with nature. Let's feel the sheer expanse of the Namibian plains stretching beyond the horizon, the rustle of grass, the distant call of a bird, and the low, persistent hum of life that binds the land and its people together. In this quiet moment, the weight of responsibility, the rhythm of daily tasks, and the stark beauty of survival all converge. You are now attuned to the world of the Herero cattle guard, ready to walk beside them across sun-scorched lands, to witness both their burdens and their triumphs. This story sets the stage for a deeper understanding of what it means to be a Herero cattle guard. We will explore the practices that keep the herds safe, the rituals that sustain morale, the life or death knowledge of water sources, and the unspoken codes of conduct that govern movement and decision-making across these vast, untamed plains. It's a life of constant adaptation, of profound connection to the earth, and to the animals that provide both sustenance and identity. As night falls and the first stars emerge, the cattle guard's work is far from over. The plains come alive with nocturnal sounds, the soft padding of predator paws, the wind weaving through sparse trees, and the occasional lowing of a restless herd. Here, under the same stars that have watched over generations of Herero families, wisdom is passed down, vigilance is maintained, and the eternal balance between humanity and the land is honored. This isn't just a story about survival. It's about attuning to life's subtleties, respecting the cycles of nature, and finding the courage to face challenges where each day can shift from calm to crisis in a matter of moments. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the heart of Namibia. If this story resonates with you, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more explorations of the world's most incredible cultures and landscapes. We'll see you next time. You are now under baobab skies, and the story begins now. The first light of dawn spills across the Namibian plains, painting the vast, uninterrupted horizon with hues of amber and gold. In this quiet moment, a lone Herero cattle guard rises from the modest shelter of a thatched hut. The chill of night still lingers in the air, his breath forming soft clouds that disappear into the awakening day. Nearby, the cattle lift their heads in unison, their lowing a gentle, rhythmic acknowledgement of another watchful day beginning. This is where our journey starts, into a world where survival is shaped by vigilance, intuition, and a deep connection to the land. By the end of our time together, you'll understand how the land communicates through subtle signs that only the most attentive can read. And you'll appreciate the profound responsibility carried by these guardians of the herd. The guard moves with a deliberate quiet, his steps light and careful across the dew-sprinkled earth. To the untrained eye, these plains might seem empty, but for him they are a tapestry of messages. Every footprint is a calculated imprint, leaving a trail that tells a story. Subtle depressions in the soil show where the herd has lingered, while bent grass hints at their recent passage. He scans the ground for hoofprints of predators, a clear signal of potential danger. For the cattle guard, these are not just trivial details. They are vital messages of life and death, read with a skill honed over generations. His first task is the dawn patrol, checking the perimeter of the grazing area. The fences, simple yet essential, are inspected with meticulous care. A loose post, a frayed rope, or an unnoticed gap can mean the difference between a full herd at sunset and a costly, devastating loss. He doesn't just look, he listens. He lets the wind carry sounds from a farther snap of a twig, the rustle of an unseen animal. Each of his senses is sharpened to perfection, every movement imbued with purpose. There is a rhythm here, a subtle cadence in the watchful steps of the guard and the gentle grazing of his cattle. In this early hour, time itself seems to slow down, stretched by the quiet expectation of the day to come. With the perimeter secured, the guard turns his full attention to tracking the herd's movements. He knows that each cow has its own patterns, its familiar paths across the veldt. He follows silently, his keen eyes noting which animals are lagging behind, which might be wandering too close to the outer edges, and which show unusual behaviors that could signal illness or stress. The bond between the herder and his herd is intimate and profound. Each animal's behavior is unseen as an isolated action, but as part of a larger narrative, a story that unfolds across the vast, open landscape. The Namibian sun begins its steady climb, its warmth starting to chase away the morning chill. The guard carries a long staff, a simple but versatile tool used for guiding the cattle, defending against predators, and even testing the ground for hidden dangers like snake holes or soft spots. His eyes, ever alert, continuously scan the horizon. He's searching for subtle movements in the tall grass, distant shadows that don't belong, or even unusual signs in the sky that might herald a change in weather. This is the delicate balance of observation and action, the very heart of the patrol. Every sound, every movement, every scent is catalogued in the guard's mind. He hears the fluttering wings of a bird, startled by something unseen, the distant roar of a lion echoing across the plains, or the gentle shift of grass as a breeze passes through. These are the first indicators of potential threats, requiring decisions that must be made quickly but with careful consideration. The safety of the entire herd depends as much on anticipation as it does on reaction. In this stillness, you can almost feel the weight of responsibility carried by the cattle guard. His watch begins when most others are still asleep and continues long into the unforgiving heat of midday. As the sun rises higher in the sky, he guides the cattle towards fresh grazing areas. His choice of path is a strategic one, balancing the need for nourishment with the imperative of safety. He expertly navigates the herd away from hidden depressions, thorny patches of acacia, and areas where predators might be lying in wait. The herd moves with a surprising coordination, responding to his subtle gestures, quiet calls, and the steady rhythm he sets. This movement isn't random. It is the result of years of practice, observation, and an intimate knowledge of the animal's instincts, passed down through his family line. Communication with fellow guards, who might be miles away across the plains, is minimal but incredibly precise. A raised hand, a short, sharp whistle, or even a subtle shift of weightage gesture carries a specific meaning across the vast distance. Together, these guards form an unseen web of observation, a silent network ensuring that the herd remains protected from both natural predators and human threats. This cooperation is a silent language, one that has been refined over generations, deeply grounded in mutual trust and a shared sense of responsibility for their community's well-being. The patrol continues with a relentless, unwavering focus. The guard constantly notes signs of water, checks for any new obstacles in their path, and makes sure that weaker or younger cattle are not left behind. Every hour demands vigilance, as the plains can change in an instant. An area that was safe just yesterday may now harbor hidden predators or expose the herd to other natural hazards. This deep, ingrained knowledge of the land, passed down through countless years of experience, is absolutely indispensable. Feel the wind as it sweeps across the plains, listen to the low hum of life all around, and sense the profound interconnectedness between the guard, his herd, and this vast Namibian landscape. Here, life is both fragile and precious, and every single choice carries significant weight. By midday, the herd is guided to areas offering both abundant grass and welcome shade. The cattle guard takes a moment to rest, but even now, his survey of the land is filled with a quiet intensity. In these brief moments of respite, his attention does not waver. His watchful eyes continue to scan for predators. His ears remain attuned to distant sounds, and his mind meticulously records every detail that might inform his future decisions. It is a life defined by endurance, patience, and a constant, unending process of learning from the land itself. The sun climbs relentlessly towards its zenith, and the heat becomes oppressive, radiating from the dry earth. Yet, the guard does not falter. He understands that the animals rely completely on him, that his entire community depends on the health and safety of the herd, and that his vigilance is what ensures the continuation of their cultural and economic life. Each step he takes is deliberate, each observation a part of the silent, ongoing conversation between humans and nature that has defined the role of the cattle guard for centuries. His commitment is a testament to a way of life where duty and connection are paramount. The Namibian plains, a realm of stark beauty, awaken under the morning sun. But here, beauty and peril are intertwined. As the golden grasses sway, shadows stretch long, and every rustle of wind whispers a warning. For the Herero cattle guard, dawn signals more than just the start of a new day. It is the time to lead the herd to fresh grazing, but also a time to steel oneself against threats that can materialize from the very air. Predators, both four-legged and two, watch from the horizon's edge, their silent gaze a constant test of the guard's awareness and skill. Every day is a hard-won lesson in vigilance, a trial of endurance against forces both seen and unseen. As the herd begins to graze, the guard's eyes scan the vast expanse, a continuous, unwavering sweep of the landscape. Lions and hyenas are in ever-present danger, their forms melting into the savanna as they stalk with patient, deadly grace. They assess the herd's movements, looking for weakness. The guard, in turn, studies their patterns, drawing on knowledge from countless past encounters. He reads the subtle signs of an imminent attack, a flock of birds suddenly taking flight, the faint, dry snap of a branch under a heavy paw, or the distant, guttural roar of a predator staking its claim. In these tense moments, knowledge is a weapon as vital as courage. Each instinct, honed over years of practice, becomes a lifeline. Each decision is weighed with the precision of a master craftsman, for a single miscalculation can be fatal. But the wild animals are not the only threat. Human raiders, driven by desperation, greed, or ancient rivalries, often view the herd as a source of immense wealth, a prize ripe for the taking. The guards must remain acutely aware of possible incursions, staying informed about the movements of neighboring clans and the simmering undercurrents of historical tensions. Defensive strategies are meticulously planned in advance, often leveraging the natural terrain, rolling hills, sparse acacia trees, and winding, dry riverbeds are not just features of the landscape. They become tools for monitoring, for funneling movement, and for defending the precious herd. The land itself is transformed into a powerful ally, a silent partner in the unending task of protection. Watch the cattle guard as he moves. His steps are measured, deliberate, positioning himself on a small rise or a strategic vantage point where he can see for miles and react in an instant. The herd, a living, breathing entity, responds to his subtle cues. A raised hand, a short, sharp whistle. A simple shifting of his weight. These signals are part of a silent language. A complex dialogue built on a foundation of trust and shared experience. This language allows for rapid, seamless coordination when danger suddenly appears. In these moments of high tension, even the slightest misstep, the faintest hesitation, can lead to devastating loss. And so, every movement is intentional, every action imbued with purpose and a deep understanding of the stakes. Let's pause here for a moment. Imagine yourself by a crackling fire as the cool night air breathes around you. Picture the plains stretching out, endless and vast, under a blanket of stars. The wind carries the sweet, earthy scent of grass, but it also carries a warning, the distant call of a predator. The herd moves as one, a silent, flowing river of life in perfect harmony with their watchful guardian. This is a world where survival is an art form, a delicate dance between awareness and action. The first tangible sign of a lion pride appears a flicker of tawny movement against the tall, sun-bleached grass. The guard doesn't panic. He signals the herd, his gestures calm and authoritative, guiding them onto a safer path while never taking his eyes off the predators. Lions, majestic and relentless, are the ultimate test of a guard's patience and skill. He knows that a hasty reaction, a show of fear, might provoke an aggressive charge. Instead, he relies on careful observation and strategic positioning. These are his tools for survival. Every step he takes is calculated, a precise move in a high-stakes game designed to protect his herd while showing respect for the raw, untamed power of the predator. Raids, when they happen, demand a different kind of vigilance, a different set of skills. Human threats are unpredictable, guided by intelligence and intent. Defending against them requires a deep understanding of timing, geography, and the complexities of human nature. The cattle guard knows that the very terrain that can offer protection can also conceal an ambush. The rolling hills that provide a vantage point can also hide an approaching enemy. The dry riverbeds that offer a shortcut can become treacherous traps. Observation, foresight, and unwavering discipline combine to form a complex network of defensive strategies. The guard's intimate knowledge of his herd, his land, and the ways of men allows him to anticipate danger, to intercept it, and to deflect it before it can ever reach the cattle. Let's pause again. Listen. The fire crackles softly. Beyond its warm glow, the night is alive with sound. Hear the subtle rustle of the grasses, the deep, resonant roar of a distant lion, the whisper of the wind as it sweeps across the open plain. Here, in this ancient landscape, every sound is a message. Every movement holds the potential for threat, and every decision made by the guard is a testament to his profound skill and unwavering courage. The tools and weapons he carries are extensions of his will, chosen with careful consideration, a long, sturdy staff for guidance and defense, a whip whose crack can deter a predator without causing harm, and sometimes a spear, held ready for sudden, decisive action. The guard is trained to respond swiftly and with lethal precision, but he also understands the immense value of patience and timing. To engage too early could provoke an unnecessary conflict. To act too late could be disastrous. This perfect harmony between restraint and action is the hallmark of a skilled defender, a guardian whose very presence ensures the continuity of life and culture across these vast plains. The herd itself is an integral part of the defense. These animals are not passive assets. They are active participants in their own survival. They can sense danger long before a human can, and they often cluster instinctively, forming a natural living barrier that can confuse and deter predators. The guard works in concert with this collective instinct, guiding, observing, and intervening only when absolutely necessary. This symbiosis, this deep, unspoken partnership between human and animal, has been refined over generations. It is a shared rhythm of survival, a bond forged in the crucible of the wild and built on a foundation of mutual trust. Rain or shine, the watch never relents. The scorching heat rises in shimmering waves from the arid earth, but the guard's focus remains unbroken. Each hour is punctuated by careful, methodical observation, each moment filled with the quiet, constant assessment of risk. He moves strategically across the landscape, guiding the herd away from known danger spots and toward the safety of open ground or fresh water. He ensures that no animal is left behind, that no gap in his vigilance remains. The daily patrol is a dancer, grueling choreography of endurance, instinct, and a deep well of knowledge passed down through countless generations. As the sun climbs to its zenith, the immediate threats often lessen. Predators may retreat to shady spots, seeking respite from the midday heat, but the guard's role does not diminish. Danger is not absent, it has merely shifted, changed its form. The cattle guard knows that the safety of the herd is a continuous, unending responsibility. He understands that preparation, observation, and a profound understanding of his environment are the essential tools of both survival and legacy. It is this constant readiness that defines his life. Let's pause one last time. Feel the gentle warmth of the fire. Picture again those endless plains, the watchful, knowing eyes of the guard, and the profound unity between man, animal, and the land they share. In this careful, ancient choreography, life is preserved, culture endures, and a legacy is passed on. In these quiet hours of the watch, the guard has time to reflect on the true significance of his role. He is doing more than just protecting livestock. He is safeguarding his community's livelihood, its stability, its very future. His vigilance ensures the continuity of a way of life that was forged across generations, a culture that is deeply intertwined with the rhythms of the land, the cycles of the seasons, and the whispers of ancestral wisdom that echo across the plains. As the afternoon draws on, the herd is guided toward safe water sources. The paths are chosen with care, avoiding areas known to be frequented by predators or potential raiders. The guard might signal to his companions across the plain, coordinating their movements with subtle gestures that are almost invisible to an untrained eye. This unity of purpose, this careful orchestration of defense, embodies the very essence of the cattle guard's life. Constant attention, deep knowledge, and an unwavering commitment to the survival of the herd above all else. This is not just a job, it is a sacred duty. Out here, the days stretch long under a blazing sun. The nights are filled with distant roars, the restless shifting of hooves, and the soft sigh of wind whispering through dry grasses. To live here, among the Herero, is to read the land like a story. Every dune, every sparse tree, every shifting shadow carries lessons learned over generations. This isn't just a job, it's a profound connection, a way of being. Water is the very heartbeat of survival. The springs, the boreholes, the seasonal pans, they are lifelines for the herd. Finding them requires a skill born not just of a single lifetime, but of ancestral memory. A guard memorizes every dry riverbed, every clay pan, every subtle depression in the earth that might hold precious moisture after the rains. They watch the flight patterns of birds, noting where they descend and circle, a living map revealing hidden sources of water. The tracks of other animals are read with the same intensity. Hoofprints and the almost invisible depressions in the sand tell the guard where life might be found in this vast, unforgiving expanse. The heat of midday is merciless. The cattle guard's endurance is tested daily, a silent testament to human resilience. You can see it in their leathered skin, their worn hands, and the steady, unhurried rhythm of walking for hours without rest. These are not signs of hardship, but marks of respect for the land. Shade is a rare and sacred commodity. The sparse thorn trees are more than just trees. They are shelters, offering a moment of reprieve, a quiet space for reflection. The guard drinks sparingly, always mindful of conserving this precious resource for the herd as much as for himself. Each measured sip, each pause beneath a sun-dappled acacia, is a testament to a deep understanding of the desert's unwritten laws. Navigation here is both an art and a finely tuned instinct. Beyond the familiar landmarks that dot the horizon, the guard reads the sky, The position of the sun, the subtle angles cast by shadows, the patterns of the clouds, all of it guides the journey. And by night, the stars become a celestial compass. The familiar constellations of the southern sky shine down like reliable beacons, leading the way through the darkness. The terrain is in constant flux. Dunes rise and fall with the wind. Vegetation thins and reappears. Yet the Herero cattle guard moves with an unwavering confidence, connecting the past with the present through knowledge that is quite literally encoded in the land itself. Let's pause for a moment. Imagine the fire crackling gently as the night breathes around us. Picture the sheer expanse of sand and grass. Smell the scent of dry earth warming under the sun. And feel the quiet heartbeat of the herd moving in a steady rhythm, all watched over by their tireless guardian. Of course, predators and raiders are an ever-present threat, a constant shadow on the edge of perception. But often, the harshness of the climate and the scarcity of water demand just as much attention. The guard is a master of logistics, knowing precisely how to ration supplies and guide the herd to conserve energy and sustain life. Grazing is timed with meticulous care, allowing the animals to feed during the cooler hours of the morning and evening. Midday is for rest, for conserving strength under whatever shade can be found. Observing weather patterns becomes second nature. The sight of clouds gathering in the far distance, the smell of rain on the dry earth carried by the wind, the sudden rustle of unseen grasses, these are all signals that can dictate the entire day's strategy, a life or death. Decision made in a single moment. But heat is not the only challenge. Sudden, violent storms can sweep across the plains without warning, turning dust into a treacherous mud that can swallow a hoof or a foothold. These storms leave behind a confusing tapestry of tracks that can mislead both man and beast. The guard must read the land with an acute, almost supernatural awareness, distinguishing between ordinary footprints and those that signal danger or opportunity. The waterholes, while life-saving, are also magnets for predators. Arriving at the wrong time could be fatal. So, the guard's timing must be perfect, ensuring safety for both the cattle and himself. This mastery of subtle balances isn't learned from a book. It's passed down through observation, through stories told around the fire, and through direct experience, each generation refining what the last has learned. Endurance is as much a mental game as it is a physical one. The sheer monotony of long hours under a relentless sun could dull the senses, but it's countered by a state of constant, active attention. The cattle guard practices a kind of mindfulness in motion, perpetually noting sounds, patterns, and the slightest changes in the herd's behavior. Every animal's subtle shift in weight, every flick of an ear, every step taken with a hint of caution of it communicates information that is vital to survival. Listening becomes an art form, honed to a level where danger can be anticipated long before it ever arrives. Let's pause again. Picture the Namibian plains stretching endlessly, the sun blazing overhead. See the cattle moving steadily with their guard, each step an exercise in endurance, patience, and profound wisdom. Feel that connection to the earth beneath your feet. At night, when the searing air finally cools and the shadows lengthen into darkness, the guard rests, but never truly sleeps. His watch is never abandoned. The brilliant southern stars reflect in the wide, calm eyes of the cattle. The wind carries the sounds of the night, the distant hoot of an owl, the territorial roar of a lion, or the faint rustle of thieves moving unseen through the grass. The guard's sleep is light, a state of being punctuated by instinct, a rhythm that is completely intertwined with the heartbeat of the herd and the living pulse of the land. These survival skills extend far beyond just observation and endurance. The guard must also understand the landscape's hidden dangers, the thorny vegetation that can injure an animal, the treacherous quicksand that can form near waterholes, the sudden, unseen drops in the terrain. Knowledge of edible plants and their locations is shared quietly among the guards. A silent insurance policy ensuring nourishment when supplies run low. Medicinal herbs are gathered with reverence, their uses known for generations, providing remedies for both cattle and human ailments. Each skill reinforces the guard's multifaceted role: protector, guide, and absolute lifeline in this beautiful but challenging environment. Patience is perhaps the most critical skill of all. Movement across these plains must be deliberate, never rushed. The conservation of energy is always the top priority, and unwavering attention to every detail must be maintained. Every aspect of the journey, herd management, route planning, and how to respond to threats depends on careful, methodical pacing. The cattle guard moves with a rhythm that perfectly balances caution and speed, intuition and planning, ensuring the herd's safety as well as his own. In the quiet moments between the rising and setting of the sun, the guard reflects on the delicate, sacred bond between man, cattle, and the land. Each day is an exercise in humility and respect. The plains teach powerful lessons of impermanence, of resilience, and of the deep interconnectedness of all living things. The Herero cattle guard learns that true mastery comes not from domination, but from understanding, from guiding, and from harmonizing with the world around him. Let's take one last moment. Feel the vastness of the Namibian plains. The warmth of the sun is fading into the cool of the night. Sense the quiet dedication of the guard, a solitary figure ensuring that life continues day by day, step by step. As the day ends and a new night begins, survival is secured. It's secured not only by vigilance and endurance, but by a deep well of knowledge shared across generations. The stories of the land, its dangers, and its gifts become part of the guard's living legacy, weaving lessons into memory that will guide both present and future herders. Water, shade, navigation, and patience, these are the invisible threads that hold together a way of life, one shaped by the harsh, breathtaking beauty of the Namibian plains. The existence of a Herero cattle guard is deeply intertwined with the people surrounding him. For the Herero, a herd is far more than a collection of animals. It is the very lifeblood of kinship, a measure of status, and a vessel for spiritual continuity. The day begins not with a sudden start, but with subtle rituals, as if the land itself demands to be greeted with respect. Before the herd even begins to move, elders offer quiet, heartfelt prayers to their ancestral spirits, invoking protection and guidance for the day ahead. Young herders, their eyes wide with focus, listen attentively, absorbing the ancient cadence and rhythm of words that have been spoken across countless generations. These moments are not mere formalities. They are the spiritual scaffolding upon which their very survival is built. Every decision made throughout the day is guided by a strict code of herding ethics. No animal is ever left behind. No broken fence is overlooked. The guard's intense attentiveness is mirrored in the community's collective consciousness. Every single person understands that a lapse in care can ripple outward, impacting not just the herd, but the social standing and prosperity of everyone. Here, responsibility is both a deeply personal commitment and a shared communal duty. The passing of the seasons is punctuated by ceremonies, each one marking a milestone for both the cattle and the people. The first life-giving rain, the birth of new calves, and the safe return from a long, arduous patrol are all celebrated with subtle dances, quiet chants, and communal feasts. Participating in these events reinforces social hierarchy, a sense of belonging, and the collective memory of the community. In these gatherings, vital lessons are embedded within song and story, imparting values that extend far beyond mere survival to encompass profound moral guidance. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently, and the night breathes around us. Imagine the low, steady hum of conversation among the herders, the soft flicker of lanterns casting dancing shadows against mud-walled huts, and the quiet, contented movement of cattle settling down to rest under the vast, star-dusted Namibian sky. The social hierarchy here is deeply respected, yet it remains fluid, capable of adapting to merit and wisdom. Experienced cattle guards guide the younger generation, offering instruction not through strict commands, but through patient observation. Respect is not given. It is earned in the field, measured by one's attentiveness, courage, and intimate knowledge of the land. The entire community thrives on a principle of reciprocity, where each member's individual strength is woven into the very fabric of their collective survival. Feasts and gatherings are more than just social events. They are vital opportunities for storytelling. Tales of ancestral guardians, of previous devastating droughts, and of legendary herders echo in a rhythm that matches the swaying of the tall grasses. These stories serve a deeply practical purpose, teaching caution, strategy, and endurance, all cleverly disguised within compelling narratives. They serve as a constant reminder to the herd and the herders alike that survival is inextricably linked with understanding their history, respecting tradition, and maintaining strong social cohesion. Even the most mundane, everyday tasks are suffused with a sense of ritual. The preparation of meals, the careful maintenance of equipment, and the cleaning of animal pens are all performed with a profound sense of mindfulness. Each act, no matter how small, reinforces the guard's essential role within the community and reminds him that life on these expansive plains is a delicate, intricate balance of effort, observation, and a deep, abiding reverence for both the land and its people. Let us pause again. The fire crackles, a gentle counterpoint to the quiet night. Visualize the herd moving as one, a steady, flowing river of life across the plains. The guards walk alongside them, their hoofbeats mingling with gentle human voices. All of it set against the breathtaking expanse of the golden landscape. This powerful bond between the herders and their community extends to important rites of passage. Young boys and girls are introduced to the immense responsibilities of cattle care through a system of structured mentorship. By observing their elders, participating in small but meaningful tasks, and gradually assuming more complex duties, they learn the true value of diligence, attentiveness, and respect. These lessons are never forced upon them. They are absorbed quietly, naturally, like seeds sinking into fertile soil, destined to grow and flourish with the individual. Spiritual awareness is not separate from daily life. It is woven into the very fabric of their duties. Certain days are designated for reflection, for honoring the ancestors, and for performing ceremonies that ensure the herd's continued protection. During these sacred times, herders may sing, chant, or engage in symbolic acts, drawing powerful connections between their human effort and the guidance of the spiritual realm. The knowledge that unseen forces influence both the land and the animals instills a profound sense of humility and a deep sense of purpose. Community councils are where the practicalities of life are managed. They settle disputes, allocate grazing land, and strategize defenses against predators and potential raiders. Every member has a voice, though the words of experience and wisdom carry significant weight. Consensus is highly valued, and decisions are made to reflect the needs of the collective. rather than the desires of an individual. Through this democratic process, herders learn not only the practicalities of survival, but also the arts of negotiation, diplomacy, and shared accountability, all absolutely essential for sustaining life in such a demanding environment. Let's take one more moment to pause. The fire crackles softly as the evening settles over the plains. Picture the guards returning from their final rounds, the elders sharing knowledge passed down through generations, and the herd resting peacefully under the vast, silent dome of the African sky. In times of crisis, like a severe drought, the community's cohesion is most apparent. Cattle must be moved to find what little pasture remains. New water sources must be located, and the vulnerable young animals must be protected at all costs. In these moments, the guard relies on the guidance of the elders, the insight of his peers, and his own hard-won intuition. Together, they form a living, breathing, networker chain of survival that stretches back across generations. The land may be harsh and unforgiving, but the unbreakable bonds between people create a resilience that no storm, literal or metaphorical, can ever break. The cycle of life, work, and ceremony continues, day in and day out, blending effort, reverence, and quiet observation into a seamless whole. The Herero herders understand that their labor is inseparable from the welfare of their neighbors, the health of their animals, and the ancient rhythm of the land itself. Each new day is another lesson in patience, endurance, and the beautiful, essential harmony of community. The Namibian plains stretch wide and open, a sea of grass under an immense sky. Yet this vastness is deceptive. It conceals threats, both human and wild. For the Herero people, to live among the grazing herds is to embrace a state of constant vigilance, a life tuned to a rhythm of keen observation and silent, decisive action. A Herero cattle guard learns from a young age that the safety of the herd is never guaranteed. Danger can arrive with the wind, whisper in the rustle of the grass, or appear as the glint of a distant spear on the horizon. He is far more than a simple watcher. He is a protector, a tactician, and a mediator between his herd, the land, and the ever-present forces that threaten them. The first light of dawn often reveals stories written in the sand. These might be the faint impressions of hooves not belonging to his herd, or the telltale signs of a prowling lion or hyena. Reading these signs is a language learned over a lifetime of dedicated observation. Every footprint, every broken twig, carries profound meaning. The guard interprets these clues, calculating distances, predicting movement, and anticipating risk long before it materializes. It's a form of natural forensics, where the earth itself provides the intelligence needed for survival. Defense begins not with a weapon, but with positioning. The herds are arranged strategically, using natural barriers like thorny acacia groves or rocky outcrops to their advantage. The guards themselves form a living, breathing perimeter, rotating their posts to ensure that every angle is covered, every approach watched. Communication is swift and silent, a specific hand gesture. A bird-like call or a slight shift in posture can signal an immediate threat. Every member of the team knows their role instinctively. In this world, hesitation is a luxury that can cost both life and livelihood. While predator attacks are a constant concern, the threat of human raiders, though less frequent now, is deeply embedded in their history and collective memory. Rival clans or opportunistic bandits have long recognized that in this land, wealth and sustenance are measured in the number of cattle. To counter this, guards master the terrain, establishing hidden observation posts and practicing defensive maneuvers passed down through generations. These tactics are as old as the plains themselves, shared not in books, but through stories, warnings, and demonstrations by the elders around the evening fire. The night brings a different kind of alertness. While human raiders rely on strategy, the predators of the plains lions, hyenas, and jackals operate on pure, primal instinct. The guard must think like them. He knows their habits, when they hunt, how they move, and which animals in the herd are most vulnerable, the young, the old, or the sick. Large fires are kept burning through the night. Their light and crackling noise a powerful deterrent. But even with these precautions, the knowledge that a sudden, explosive pounce could come from the darkness at any moment keeps every nerve on high alert. The art of defense here is both an individual skill and a collective dance. Each guard cultivates his own expertise. One might be a master tracker, able to read the faintest spoor. Another might excel at improvising barriers, while a third may have the courage to lead a direct distraction. Yet, all these individual talents are woven together through seamless coordination. Words are used sparingly. A glance or a subtle movement communicates more than a shouted command ever could. Every action has a purpose. Every motion is precise. Historically, the threat of raiders didn't just shape tactics, it shaped their very way of life, influencing settlement patterns and migration routes. During times of heightened tension, entire communities would move their herds to safer, more defensible areas. Escape paths were memorized, routes through secret valleys and hidden passes that allowed for a swift retreat. The landscape itself becomes a partner in defense. Rocky outcrops offer vantage points, dense riverbeds provide cover, and clusters of acacia trees can form natural corrals. The guards are intimately familiar with every contour of their territory, knowing every dip in the land that could shield their herd or conceal an approaching enemy. When a raid or a predator attack does occur, the response is a masterful blend of preparation and improvisation. Tools like spears, long sticks, and slings are not wielded with panicked haste, but with measured precision and calm authority. The primary goal is often not to kill, but to deter and control. The guards might quickly encircle the herd, closing any gaps and forming a protective human wall. A potential attacker is intercepted and driven off before it can cause harm. Each action is deliberate, a reflection of skills honed through countless hours of observation, experience, and raw instinct. Of course, the human element is always the most complex. Conflict doesn't only arise with nature, but also with neighbors over resources like water and grazing land. Often, the best defense is deterrence. The sight of a well-organized, confident group of guards standing united is often enough to make a would-be raider think twice. This display of unity and readiness is a powerful statement. It communicates the community's strength and declares that their herd is protected by a bond that will not be easily broken. Through these trials, the guard learns patience, profound courage, and the delicate art of reading both animal and human behavior. Every patrol, every close call, and every confrontation is a lesson in strategy and composure. In this life, failure is rarely an option. The consequences are immediate, tangible, and felt by the entire community. It's a heavy responsibility, but one that forges incredible strength of character. Even on the quietest days, when the sun is warm and the cattle graze peacefully, the mind of the guard is never truly at rest. He is constantly tracking, predicting, and anticipating. He is aware that danger is a permanent resident of these plains, merely lying in wait. This knowledge lends a certain weight to every decision, but it also creates a rhythm, a cadence of vigilance that is as natural and constant as breathing under the vast Namibian sky. This rhythm of raids and defense shapes the very character of the guard. Courage here is not about recklessness. It is cultivated through foresight, endurance, and the subtle mastery of situational awareness. It is the courage to stand firm in the face of fear, to protect the vulnerable, and to make life and death decisions in a split second. Life on the plains is both a test and a teacher, imparting a unique wisdom to those who are willing to listen, to observe, and to respect the intricate, often harsh, balance of all living things. Through this careful orchestration of vigilance, movement, and ancestral knowledge, the guard ensures the survival of both his herd and his community. Each day, each patrol reinforces the profound interconnectedness of life, labor, and the landscape. It is a symphony of strategy, played out daily, invisible to those who do not understand the plains' intimate rhythms. The ultimate lesson carried forward is clear. To protect is to understand. To anticipate is to survive. And to act with both courage and wisdom is to thrive. Life here is measured not just in the number of cattle that are safe at dawn, but in the quiet mastery of danger and the hard-won harmony sustained between humanity and the wild heart of Africa. The Namibian plains are a world of extremes. Here, the sun climbs high and unyielding, and the wind sweeps across the sands with a voice that whispers both caution and instruction. To be a Herero cattle guard is to be intimately acquainted with these extremes, to learn the land's moods, to interpret its signals, and to survive within its vast, unending embrace. It's a life defined by an unwavering connection to the earth. Water is life, and in this arid expanse, it is often hidden, ephemeral, or distant. The guard becomes a reader of the terrain, noticing the subtle signs that others would miss. He sees where the grass bends just so, indicating underground moisture, or where small depressions in the earth might collect precious rainfall. He learns to follow the flight of birds or the gathering of insects, knowing they often lead to secret sources of water. Every step is taken with a deep awareness of the sand underfoot, of the quality of shade offered by a lone acacia tree, and of the myriad signs that indicate life's presence or its absence. Navigation here is not about maps or compasses. It's an art, passed down orally and demonstrated through action. The guard memorizes the daily path of the sun, the alignment of the stars at night, and the subtle shifts in the landscape that guide his movements. Distinctive rocks, ancient trees, and distant hills become his markers. The terrain itself is the map, and his eyes are the instruments with which it is read. This is a deep, instinctual knowledge, woven into the fabric of his being through years of experience and the wisdom of his ancestors. Surviving the searing heat requires more than just physical endurance. It demands a deep understanding of rhythm and patience, and a constant attunement to the herd's needs. During the harshest hours of the day, the cattle are moved slowly, allowed to graze in shaded patches and rest in a deliberate cadence that mirrors the sun's own journey across the sky. The guard conserves his own energy through measured motion, taking shaded pauses and sipping from hidden wells, or dew carefully collected at dawn. It is a dance of survival, a choreography of movement and rest. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently as the night breathes around us. Picture the guard standing still, the wind a constant companion, watching the herd as they cluster beneath a solitary tree. Their breaths rise in faint clouds of heat against the cooling air. In this moment, he is both observer and participant, completely attuned to the ebb and flow of life that surrounds him, a silent guardian under a canopy of stars. The search for water is a daily practice of both patience and instinct. A certain type of stone might indicate the presence of a spring deep beneath the surface. A dried riverbed, which to an outsider looks barren, might hint at hidden pools of water buried under the sand. by observing other animals, the graceful movements of an antelope, the circling of a hawk, or even the trails of insects. The guard deciphers clues that lead to life-sustaining moisture. In these critical moments, his survival becomes inseparable from that of his herd. It is a shared destiny, a unified struggle against the elements. Endurance is tested not just by the sun, but also by the relentless wind, which can sap strength and spirit over time. The guard learns to move with the landscape, not against it. He rests during the hottest hours, choosing to walk in the cooler air of morning or evening. He makes use of any natural shelter the land offers, no matter how small. Every decision he makes is a careful calculation, balancing immediate comfort against the long-term goal of survival for himself and his animals. Food, while secondary to water, is another vital consideration. The guard carries minimal provisions, relying on his extensive knowledge of the land to supplement his diet. He knows which plants are safe to consume and when they are in-season roots that store precious moisture, berries that appear after a rare rain, or even small game that can be caught with careful preparation and skill. Each meal, each sip of water, is an exercise in restraint, conservation, and a deep gratitude for what the plains offer, however sparingly. Let us pause again. The fire's embers glow in the darkness. Imagine the guard bending low, scooping water into a clay vessel from a source he has just uncovered. His eyes are never still, constantly scanning the horizon for any sign of change, while the herd drinks quietly nearby. Every movement he makes is deliberate, a reflection of generations of experience and a profound reverence for the land that sustains them. His actions are a prayer in motion. As the guard's survival skills sharpen, his connection with the herd deepens into something truly profound. He can sense which animals are stressed by the heat, which ones require extra protection from predators, and which curious calf might stray toward unseen danger. His intuition, honed over years of silent observation, becomes a form of dialogue with the animals, a conversation of presence, subtle gestures, and shared understanding that keeps the herd safe through heat, scarcity, and the ever-present threats of the wild. Reading the land also extends to understanding its grander seasonal patterns. The guard tracks the cycles of drought and rain, the subtle shifts in grazing grounds, and the arrival of migratory animals that signal changes in the ecosystem. These large-scale movements inform his decisions, dictate the paths he takes, and determine the very rhythm of life for both man and beast. In this environment, timing is everything. A journey started a day too early or a day too late could result in loss, hunger, or complete exhaustion. But survival is more than just knowledge. It is a way of life built on discipline. Water must be rationed with extreme care. Movements must be coordinated with the sun and the needs of the herd. Rest must be scheduled with forethought. The guard's mind and body must always be prepared to act instantly when danger arises. Whether it's the sudden appearance of a predator, a calf that has become separated from its mother, or a shifting wind that brings the scent of a potential threat. Every choice has immediate consequences, and every miscalculation is a lesson etched permanently into memory. Let's pause one last time. The fire has burned low, and the silence of the plains is deep. Picture the endless horizon, the sun hanging like a molten orb at dusk, and the guard moving silently among his cattle. He embodies vigilance, resilience, and an unspoken, profound understanding of the land's demands. He is a living testament to the harmony that can exist between humanity and a challenging environment. In the constant practice of these survival skills, patience and observation are just as vital as strength and courage. The guard reads the plains like a sacred text, interprets its complex language, and responds with both decisive action and careful restraint. He learns that to endure is to respect the rhythms of life, to anticipate challenges before they arise, and to harmonize his own movements with the powerful pulse of the environment around him. By mastering the arts of water finding, navigation, and heat endurance, the guard ensures that his herd survives the day, the season, and the many trials that nature imposes. Each skill is a single thread in the intricate tapestry of survival, woven with care, awareness, and a deep, abiding reverence for the plains that sustain all life. This intimate knowledge, gained through personal observation, trial and error, and the timeless guidance of his elders, forms the very core of the Herero cattle guard's daily existence. It is a life of profound discipline, connection, and respect, a powerful testament to the intricate and enduring bond between humans, their animals, and the formidable landscape they call home. As dusk settles over the vast Namibian plains, a profound quiet descends, broken only by the soft whispers of wind through the sparse acacia trees. Here, in this gentle hush, the Herero cattle guards gather their thoughts, preparing for the ancient rhythm of life that binds them to their herd and their home. The herd is far more than a collection of animals. It is the lifeblood of the community, a currency of respect, status, and sustenance. To guard these cattle is to uphold not just survival, but honor, to engage in a sacred service that connects each individual to generations past. Every action carries weight, and every choice reflects a code of ethics instilled since youth. Ethics in herding are taught as both practical and spiritual lessons. Young guards learn to move in silence, to prioritize the safety of the herd over haste, and to treat each animal with profound care, for they believe every beast carries the spirit of its lineage. A newborn calf isn't merely seen as future wealth or food. It is a promise of continuity, a single, precious thread woven into the very fabric of the clan's identity. The elders' instruction is patient and poetic, often punctuated with stories of legendary guardians who navigated storms, droughts, and raids with exceptional courage and wisdom. The herding life is punctuated by ceremonies that mark the changing seasons, celebrate rites of passage, and express moments of deep gratitude. At specific times, the entire community gathers to honor their ancestors, to bless the herds, and to recognize those guards who have shown exceptional skill or bravery. These rituals are solemn yet celebratory, blending the mundane with the mystical, grounding each guard in a powerful sense of belonging and purpose. Let us pause for a moment. Imagine the scene. The fire crackles gently as the cool night air breathes around us. The guards stand in a circle, their feet tracing ancient patterns in the dust as drums beat a soft, rhythmic pulse. Elders chant songs that echo across the plains, their voices calling down blessings upon the herd and its keepers alike. It's a moment where time itself seems to stand still, connecting the present to an immemorial past. A clear hierarchy shapes the structure of this community. The elders, having guided herds through countless seasons of sun and rain, mentor the younger guards, passing down their knowledge orally and by example. Respect is not demanded. It is earned and demonstrated in actions and words, listening with intent, following instructions without question, and honoring the traditions that have preserved both their lives and their lineage. Authority here is not enforced by fear, but flows naturally from experience and wisdom, a deference that maintains order and cohesion within the clan. Participation in community rituals is essential for reinforcing these bonds. Young guards might be called upon to light the ceremonial fires, carry water for the elders, or perform other tasks that symbolize readiness, resilience, and a deep reverence for life. Through these seemingly simple acts, they begin to internalize the immense responsibilities they will one day assume fully. They learn early that their actions affect not only their own fortunes, but the well-being and harmony of the entire clan. The sacred and the practical are not separate. They intertwine seamlessly in the daily tasks of herding. Songs and chants accompany the long walks across the plains, serving to guide the cattle, mark the passage of time, and connect the guard to the land, the animals, and the community. These melodies are far more than mere entertainment. They are a living archive, encoding vital information, collective memory, and a shared ethical code. They form a subtle curriculum transmitted through rhythm, repetition, and story. Let us pause again. Envision the cattle moving slowly across the horizon, a river of life flowing over the arid land. The guards' voices rise and fall in a soft unison, a sound that carries both practical instruction and heartfelt devotion across the empty stretches of sand and grass. It's a sound that has echoed through these plains for centuries. The guard learns to anticipate not only the needs of the herd, but also the expectations of the community. Every decision, whether made in the quiet of dawn or the blistering heat of midday, has a direct impact on the clan's sustenance, its social standing, and its internal harmony. This constant awareness instills a profound sense of humility, patience, and a quiet, dignified pride, virtues that have come to define life on the Namibian plains. Ceremonial life is inextricably linked with practical responsibility. A missed ritual or an overlooked duty is not just a personal failing. It is seen as an act that could jeopardize not only physical survival, but also the spiritual balance of the entire clan. The elders watch closely, guiding each movement, ensuring that the young guards internalize the delicate balance between a deep respect for tradition and the demanding realities of everyday labor. The plains themselves, with their vast, unending horizon, serve as both a classroom and a sanctuary for these lessons. Through this intricate tapestry of ritual, community, and daily responsibility, the Herero Guard cultivates an intimate understanding of his place in the world. He becomes a living link between the past and the future, between the land and the livestock, between the human and the spirit world. These connections, though subtle, are profoundly strong. They sustain him, they guide him, and they constantly remind him of the weight and the profound beauty of the life he has been chosen to lead. Let us pause one last time. Visualize the circle of guards and elders, their shadows dancing in the flickering firelight. Their voices rise in a layered harmony that merges with the whispering wind. In this moment, every sound, every gesture becomes both a lesson and a blessing carried across the vastness of the plains, a testament to a way of life that endures. Enduring the searing heat, navigating the challenging terrain, and honoring the sacred rituals of the community are inseparable aspects of survival here. The young guard, through these shared experiences, learns not just skill but empathy, not just technique but patience, not just duty but reverence. He comes to understand that to guard the herd is to guard life itself, and that the community, its strength, its very future, depends entirely on his dedication, his attentiveness, and his unwavering spirit. The sun has begun its climb over the endless Namibian plains, painting the sand and grass with pale gold. Here, life is measured not only by days and nights, but by the discovery of water. For the Herero cattle guard, each droplet is precious, each pool a testament to knowledge passed down through generations. To walk the plains is to read the whispers of the land, to know where life may yet be found in a world that can turn mercilessly dry. Even in the bright daylight, the shadows of acacia trees stretch long, guiding the eye toward distant depressions that may harbor hidden springs. Young guards are taught to notice the most subtle changes: the color of the sand, the tracks of animals, the distant glimmer of moisture in the grass. These signs, almost invisible to the untrained eye, are the living maps of survival. Water is not simply consumed, it is revered. The guard approaches a waterhole with a sense of ceremony, ensuring that the herd drinks without panic or waste. The lessons he learns are not only about observation, but also about ritual. Each step, each gesture, is an acknowledgement that this gift of life is finite and must be respected. The young guard learns to balance the pressing thirst of the herd with the long-term sustainability of the source, understanding that one misstep can bring hardship to the entire clan. The paths across these vast plains are often invisible to outsiders. The Herero guard, however, reads the terrain like a story written in sand, stone, and wind. Certain termite mounds indicate the proximity of underground water, and the direction of the wind can carry the faint scent of hidden rivers or drying pans. This deep knowledge of seasonal rains, prevailing winds, and the migratory movement of other grazing herds forms an intricate mental map that guides every single step of the journey. Imagine the young guard tracing the fresh footprints of springbok and oryx, following these faint trails toward an unseen water. Each of his movements is deliberate, informed by both a sharp instinct and the teachings passed down to him. The navigation skills of the guard are completely inseparable from his community's survival. The ability to lead the herd to hidden wells and fresh grazing grounds can mean the difference between life and famine. Guidance comes not only from his elders, but from the land itself, from the gentle curve of a riverbed, the slope of a hill, or the dark shadow of a distant kopje. These natural elements are studied, remembered, and respected as his silent teachers. A guard must also anticipate danger along these ancient routes. The dry plains hide predators, unstable sands can conceal treacherous sinkholes, and rival clans may lay claim to the same precious grazing lands. An acute awareness of these risks, combined with a deep knowledge of safe paths and resource locations, forms the very foundation of the guard's skill. Through repeated journeys, he develops a kind of symbiosis with the land, understanding its moods, its patterns, and its secret offerings. Picture the young guard standing atop a rise, scanning the horizon for any sign of water or danger. His eyes trace the subtle curvature of the dunes, and his senses are attuned to every movement of the herd below. Water finding also requires immense patience and unwavering attentiveness. The soil itself may offer faint clues: a slight dampness under a layer of sand, a faint green tinge in the grass, or the sudden presence of certain insects. Each of these observations is recorded mentally, and each decision is deliberate, ensuring that the herd moves efficiently while minimizing the risk of exhaustion or dehydration. The lessons in navigation extend far beyond mere survival. They are also a form of spiritual awareness. As the guard moves across the plains, he senses the stories carried in the land echoes of his ancestors, whispers of past journeys, and the quiet, persistent pulse of life that endures through drought and storm. The journey becomes a meditation, a silent dialogue with the earth, and a profound reminder of the interconnectedness of all things. Through these experiences, the guard develops resilience, foresight, and a deep respect for the fragile balance between life and land. Water and navigation are not just skills, but sacred knowledge, entrusted to those who show commitment, insight, and humility. Each decision, each careful step, carries immense weight, ensuring that the herd, the clan, and the legacy of the plains remain intact. Visualize the young guard leading his herd along a hidden track. Water finally shimmering ahead, the dry heat softened by the promise of life, with the endless plains stretching out beyond the horizon. It is in these moments that the true meaning of his role is realized, not just as a protector of cattle, but as a guardian of life itself. The land provides, but it also demands respect, and the Herero Guard is the living embodiment of that sacred pact. The Namibian sun rises like molten gold, relentless and unwavering. It washes the vast plains in a light that warms the sand beneath bare feet and glints off the backs of grazing cattle. For the Herero Cattle Guard, each new day presents a test of endurance, a challenge for both body and spirit. Here, in this unforgiving landscape, survival isn't just about protecting the herd. It's about the guard's ability to move with patience, to read the subtle rhythms of the land, and to respect the harsh limits imposed by extreme heat and drought. The sun's intensity is a constant companion, guiding every step, every decision. The young guard learns early on that to endure is to pace oneself, to listen to the whispers of the wind, the murmurs of the soil, and the quiet breathing of the herd. Physical strength is a necessity, yes, but what is more crucial is the wisdom to know when to conserve energy and when to act with decisive force. This balance is the key to life on the plains. The skills of endurance are forged in the crucible of daily routine. From the first hint of light, long before the cattle begin to stir, the guards are awake. They mend fences broken in the night, guide straying animals back to the safety of the herd, and scan the endless horizon for any sign of a threat. Hours can pass in near silence, a quiet punctuated only by the low calls of a distant oryx, the soft shifting of hooves, and the occasional startling hiss of a snake hidden in the grass. Each movement, each task, reinforces a rhythm that is both meditative and intensely practical. It's a life stripped down to its essentials, where every action has a direct and immediate consequence. This constant, quiet work builds a deep, unspoken connection between the guard, the herd, and the land they all depend on. Food and water are precious, scarce resources that must be carefully rationed. A guard learns to recognize the land's subtle gifts, seasonal fruits, and potent medicinal plants. This knowledge allows them to supplement their diet while ensuring enough resources remain for the herd to thrive. Endurance, in this context, is as much about discipline and foresight as it is about physical strength. The land gives, but it also tests. A single misstep, a fleeting moment of inattention, can leave both man and beast vulnerable to exhaustion, dehydration, or worse. The young guard might kneel beside a hidden well, a secret spring known only to a few, sharing a few sips of precious water with the herd. In that simple act, you can feel the pulse of life in every blade of grass and the warmth of the earth beneath. Each gesture becomes a quiet act of stewardship, a promise of care and a testament to resilience. The heat, however, is not the only challenge. The Namibian plains are a place of sudden, dramatic change. Fierce gusts of wind can appear out of nowhere, stirring the sand into a blinding frenzy and creating mirages that shimmer on the horizon, ready to deceive the inexperienced. Thunderstorms can roll in from distant mountains with shocking speed, violent and swift, demanding immediate action to protect the herd and oneself. The guard learns to anticipate these events, to read the sky and the horizon for the most subtle shifts in color and cloud formation. They learn to trust in the hard-won experience passed down through generations, while remaining humble before the overwhelming power of nature. They brace themselves against the wind, their bodies a solid anchor as the cattle huddle together. A mass of instinct and survival against the swirling dust and darkening sky. This resilience is nurtured through shared knowledge, a legacy of survival passed from one generation to the next. Elders recount stories around the fire, tales of past droughts and epic storms, emphasizing the vital importance of adaptability, patience, and a profound respect for the land. Young guards are taught that survival is not a contest of brute strength against the elements. Instead, it is a form of communion with the plains, a deep understanding of its moods, its dangers, and its gifts. The stories of their ancestors echo in every decision they make. Where to lead the herd for the best grazing, when to rest in the shade of a lone acacia tree, and how to move in harmony with the natural world. Imagine the guard pausing atop a small rise, the sun blazing overhead, observing the herd's steady, rhythmic movement. In that moment, they feel the rhythm of life intertwined with their own endurance. Each day's hard labor becomes a form of meditation, and each step a quiet conversation with the land itself. Night brings a different kind of endurance. As the sun sinks below the horizon, the temperature on the plains can drop sharply. The winds shift, and the familiar landscape transforms into a world of shadows and unseen movements. The guard must remain vigilant, tending the fire that keeps the chill and the predators at bay, keeping a watchful eye over the sleeping cattle and listening to the chorus of nocturnal sounds that might herald danger. Even in the profound darkness, the lessons of patience and attentiveness continue. The young guard's senses sharpen over time. Their eyes adjust to the deep shadows. Their ears catch the softest whispers of movement in the grass. And their heart attunes to the subtle, unspoken language of survival. Under a brilliant, star-filled sky, they sit by a small fire, the herd resting peacefully nearby, a silhouette against the distant hills. This is a vigil of trust and responsibility. Endurance also demands an immense amount of courage. To face wild animals, from prowling lions to sly, opportunistic hyenas, requires not only skill but an unwavering focus and a deep well of calm. The guard learns to move with a quiet authority, guiding the herd with measured calls and gestures. Understanding the behavior of each creature they encounter, they learn to assert control without provoking unnecessary conflict. This courage is not reckless. It's intricately intertwined with wisdom. To act rashly is to invite disaster, but to act with foresight and understanding is to preserve life both for the herd and for oneself. Picture the guard scanning the horizon under a silver moon, the cattle clustered safely around him. Every movement is deliberate, every breath attuned to the rhythms of life and the ever-present land. Here, in the vast, silent heart of Namibia, endurance is not a solitary trial. It is a rich and complex tapestry, woven from threads of ancient knowledge, unwavering discipline, and a profound respect for the world they call home. This deep, cyclical rhythm of life, of hardship and survival, of patience and wisdom's what shapes the Herero cattle guard. It's a life that demands everything but gives back something profound in return, a connection to the earth that is almost spiritual, a resilience that is more than just physical toughness, and a place within a tradition that has endured for centuries. Beneath a vast Namibian sky, where stars turn slowly in the quiet darkness, the plains stretch out like a living canvas, a testament to endurance, labor, and ancient tradition. As a new day unfolds, so does the rhythm of community and ritual, a framework that shapes the very existence of every Herero cattle guard. Here, in this expansive land, survival is inseparable from social responsibility. Every action carries a profound weight, both moral and practical, for the herd, the family, and the entire village. The ethic of herding is, at its core, an ethic of care. A guard's duties are not simply about moving cattle from one pasture to another, from grazing land to a watering hole. They are about a deep and abiding respect for the animals themselves, for the land that sustains them, and for the community that relies upon their health and growth. A sick cow or a lost calf is never just a personal loss. It is a breach of trust, a stark reminder that individual survival is woven into the fabric of collective responsibility. Within the community, rituals are the threads that reinforce these sacred responsibilities. Imagine the scene. As morning mists rise from the golden plains, guards gather at the edges of the grazing lands. Brief, heartfelt ceremonies give thanks to the ancestors, while the rhythmic beating of small drums marks the true start of the day's work. It is here that elders speak, their voices carrying the wisdom of generations. They talk of diligence, of paying close attention to the subtle signs in the herd's behavior, and of the profound importance of preserving life with honor. Young guards absorb these lessons, carrying the quiet weight of tradition with them as they step out into the sun. Let's pause for a moment. Picture this: the fire crackles gently, and the vast night breathes around us. Imagine the watchful eyes of a young guard, scanning the dark horizon. A soft breeze carries whispers of ancient wisdom from the elders, stories and lessons learned over countless generations. Every gesture you see is imbued with meaning. A hand placed gently on a cow's flank to soothe it. A measured step to lead a lost calf back to its mother. These are not just actions, but reflections of a deep, unshakable ethical grounding that has been passed down through time. This ethical foundation extends to every aspect of life, including conflict resolution. When disputes inevitably arise between guards, perhaps over grazing boundaries or access to a precious water source, the community does not resort to anger or aggression. Instead, they turn to ritualized dialogues and mediation to ensure fairness and restore harmony. The community places immense value on restraint, on thoughtful judgment over rashness. These moments become powerful teaching opportunities, demonstrating that true leadership is a quiet art, a delicate blend of empathy, deep knowledge, and respected authority. Rituals also play a crucial role in protecting the spiritual balance between humans, their cattle, and the natural world. Before leading the herd to new pastures, a guard might perform a simple but significant offering. It could be a handful of earth scattered to the wind, a whispered prayer of gratitude, or a steady drumbeat to mark the passage from one place to another. These acts are far from mere superstition. They represent a living philosophy. They serve as constant reminders to the guards of their sacred duty to maintain harmony, to honor the unseen forces that sustain all life on these plains. Let's pause again. The fire is low, casting a warm glow as the night deepens. Visualize a young guard standing beneath a solitary acacia tree. He sprinkles a pinch of sand onto the earth and softly calls upon the ancestors, asking for their blessing over the herd. In these quiet, contemplative moments, the veil between daily labor and spiritual mindfulness becomes incredibly thin. It feels as if the plains themselves are breathing in approval, acknowledging the respect being shown. Within these time-honored practices, the social hierarchy of herding is both fluid and deeply respected. Elders guide with the wisdom of their experience, teaching not through commands, but through example and story. Meanwhile, the younger guards contribute their energy, their sharp eyes, and their unwavering vigilance. Responsibility is shared among all, but accountability ultimately rests with each individual. A single guard's moment of negligence, a poorly checked fence, a wandering calf not brought back, A failure to position the herd against an approaching storm can affect the entire community. This reality underscores the immense moral weight carried in every single task. These community rituals also extend to celebrations of success and survival. At the end of a long, arduous season, when the cattle are healthy, the water has been abundant, and threats have been averted, the village gathers. It is a time to honor the guards and their tireless diligence. Drums echo across the plains, their rhythm a heartbeat for the community. Fires illuminate faces etched by the sun and wind, and the cool night air carries songs of gratitude, linking the labor of the present to the strength of ancestral memory. In these moments of shared joy, the guard understands a fundamental truth, that ethics and labor, discipline and ritual are inseparable threads woven into the very fabric of life on the plains. Let's pause one more time. The fire has burned down to glowing embers. Picture the herd resting peacefully under the stars. The guards are seated in a circle, their voices rising in gentle, rhythmic chants, while the soft beat of a drum keeps time with their hearts and the steady pulse of the earth. It is here, in this shared space of peace and gratitude, that communal bonds are reinforced. The essential lessons of care and respect are imprinted not just in the mind, but in the soul. Even the smallest, most routine decisions of the day carry a significant moral weight. Choosing which path to lead the herd along, deciding how to distribute precious water among the animals, or knowing the right moment to rest, these are all exercises in ethical judgment. Through this daily practice, the guards learn to balance the immediate needs of the herd with the long-term sustainability of the land and the community. Their work becomes an embodiment of patience, foresight, and humility. It reveals that herding is so much more than a practical job. It is a moral vocation, a sacred calling that honors the delicate harmony of life. It's a way of being that finds its deepest meaning in the simple, profound act of caring for another life. Under the vast sweep of the Namibian sky, life pulses in rhythms older than memory. The plains, wide and silent in daylight, awaken at night with murmurs of history, whispers of ancestors, and the gentle shuffle of hooves. Here, the Herero cattle guard is not merely a caretaker of animals, but a participant in an enduring cycle of communal ceremonies. Rituals that bind people to cattle, to the land, and to each other. The ceremonies begin with observation. Long before the village drums call the people together, guards and elders walk the grazing lands. They scan the horizon as the sun rises, noting the herd's condition. Every hoof print in the red dust, every pattern in the sparse grass tells a story. The ritual starts not with a grand gesture, but with quiet awareness of the cattle, of the community, and of the invisible threads that connect them all. It's a deep listening to the language of the land. The gathering itself is a deliberate choreography. Villagers assemble near the central kraals, or under the shade of ancient acacia trees. Drums, their skins taut and ready, rest against broad shoulders. Voices are low but resonant, filled with a shared sense of reverence. In these moments, elders remind the community that the cattle are more than just livestock. They are living gifts from the ancestors, vessels of sustenance, and powerful symbols of Herero identity. The young guards listen closely, their eyes wide with concentration, learning that each movement, each sound, carries a meaning that stretches far beyond what is visible. Let us pause for a moment. Imagine the scene. The fire crackles gently as the cool night air breathes around us. Envision the soft glow of torches flickering against earth-colored huts, their light dancing on the faces of the community. Children lean against their parents' legs, their sleepy eyes watching the proceedings. Elders speak in measured, rhythmic tones, their words carrying the weight of generations. In shadowed pens nearby, the cattle rest, their calm presence a testament to the peace of the village. In this sacred space, every heartbeat seems to align with the pulse of the ceremony, echoing with ancient lessons of patience, respect, and unwavering vigilance. Music and song play a central role in these gatherings. Rhythmic drumming accompanies powerful chanting that invokes ancestral guidance, celebrates a successful herding season, or acknowledges the trials overcome by both people and cattle. Each song is carefully learned, passed down through generations. Its specific cadence serves as a guide for movement and a catalyst for reflection. The young guard is taught that within these rhythms lies memory, the story of survival and care. The very soul of their people, preserved and passed from one generation to the next. The melodies are not just notes. They are a living library of their history. These ceremonies are also profound times of teaching. Elders don't just speak of tradition. They demonstrate it. They might show an apprentice how to calm a nervous calf, or narrate epic stories of legendary guards and herders who navigated great droughts or protected the herd from danger. They explain the moral responsibilities that are entwined with each duty, emphasizing that caring for the cattle is caring for the community itself. Children and young guards observe the patterns of work, from the simple act of leading the herd to water to the complex logistics of organizing seasonal migrations. Every gesture is deliberate, every lesson carefully enunciated, reinforcing a framework of ethics alongside practical, life-sustaining knowledge. Let us pause again. The fire crackles, a constant, comforting presence against the vast silence of the night. Picture a young guard kneeling by the edge of a pen, their focus absolute. They watch an elder's hands move through the cattle gutting, adjusting, ensuring order with a quiet confidence that speaks volumes. It's a silent dialogue, a dance of trust and care between human and animal, conveying the immense weight and honor of tradition without a single word being spoken. It is in these quiet moments of observation that the deepest learning occurs. Among the most sacred of all rituals are the water ceremonies. When the herd finally reaches a seasonal spring or a vital waterhole after a long journey, ritual acts of thanks are performed. An elder might scatter a handful of sand toward the four corners of the earth. A small offering might be given back to the land. Or a song of profound gratitude might rise from the group. These simple, powerful gestures remind all present that survival is a gift, never a guarantee. They honor the water that sustains all life and reaffirm the duty of care that must extend to every being and the land itself. The timing of these rituals is often dictated by the unyielding clock of the seasons. Planting and harvest, drought and flood, migrations and the calving season. Each phase of the year prompts ceremonies that recognize the herd's integral role in sustaining the community. Through this cyclical observance, the guards internalize the natural rhythms of the plains. They learn to anticipate changes in the weather, to respect the limitations of the environment, and to act with foresight and prudence. It's a way of life that is in complete harmony with the world around them. Let's take another moment to immerse ourselves in this world. The fire crackles on. Imagine the synchronized movement of people and cattle across the landscape, a flowing river of life. Hear the low hum of songs blending with the rhythmic beat of drums, marking the passage of hours under a canopy of stars. In these moments, the line between labor and celebration, between work and spirituality, completely blurs. All is one, the herd, the humans, and the land they inhabit together. This is not just a job. It's a spiritual practice enacted daily. Ceremonies also serve as tests and demonstrations of skill. a young guard might be tasked with a great responsibility, such as guiding the herd through difficult, rocky terrain, navigating to a hidden water source known only through oral tradition, or managing the cattle during the controlled commotion of a ritual. These exercises are designed to teach resilience, courage, and sound ethical judgment under pressure. Mistakes are not met with punishment, but with gentle guidance and correction, reinforcing a culture of communal responsibility where learning is a shared journey. Let us pause one last time, held in the warmth of the fire. Envision a young guard standing at the edge of a dusty kraal, their heart beating steadily, their nerves calm. They follow the quiet instructions of an elder, their every action observed by the community, every breath measured and deliberate. Here, in the safe and supportive embrace of ceremony, growth is both tangible and spiritual. It is where a young person is forged into a guardian of their people's future. At the very heart of all these rituals lies one powerful emotion: gratitude. Gratitude for the cattle as a source of sustenance and wealth. Gratitude for the water as the giver of life. Gratitude for the land as a generous caretaker, and for the ancestors as wise guides. This shared gratitude binds the community together, weaving individual labor and responsibility into a beautiful, collective rhythm. The young guard comes to understand that guarding cattle is not merely work. It is a sacred trust, a covenant that is honored and renewed through song, ceremony, and constant vigilance. Through these community ceremonies and herding rituals, the Herero people affirm their unbreakable connection to the land, to their history, and to each other. Each drumbeat, each chant, and each gesture reinforces moral responsibility, practical skill, and a deep spiritual awareness. By participating fully in this vibrant cultural life, the guards embody the ethics, resilience, and continuity of their people, ensuring that the ancient wisdom of the plains is carried forward in both action and spirit for generations to come. Under the vast, endless Namibian sky, as the sun dips low, the final lessons of the day unfold. The plains are painted in hues of amber and burnt sienna, a breathtaking backdrop for a tradition as old as the land itself. The older guards gather the young apprentices, forming circles around fires that crackle softly, their rhythm echoing lives tied to cattle, land, and heritage. It's here, in these quiet twilight hours, that knowledge is passed on not through textbooks, but through voice, touch, and the attentive gaze of youth. The process often begins with storytelling. Elders recount tales of great cattle drives, of raids repelled with courage and cunning, of moments when the entire herd's survival depended on a single brave act. These stories aren't just history, they're moral compasses, teaching invaluable lessons of patience, loyalty, and careful judgment. The apprentices listen in silence, their faces illuminated by the fire's glow. They absorb not only the words, but the cadence, the meaningful pauses, the way the storyteller's eyes and hands lend weight and meaning to every part of the tale. Each narrative is a thread, weaving the past into the present, ensuring that the wisdom of ancestors is never forgotten. Following the stories, practical instruction begins. The apprentices are guided through the essential techniques of herding, maintaining fences, and tracking water sources. The elders move with a deliberate grace, showing the youth how to read the ground, how to follow the faintest of hoofprints, and how to anticipate the herd's movements. Every lesson is hands-on, every correction gentle but precise. The young guards learn that true wisdom isn't just given, it's earned through careful observation, repeated practice, and a profound respect for both the animals and the ancestors who walked this land before them. Let's pause for a moment. Imagine the scene. The fire crackles softly as the night breathes around this small circle of learning. The apprentices are bent low, their fingers tracing the faint impressions of hooves in the sand. Their mentors guide their hands, pointing out subtle signs in the grass that an untrained eye would miss. Each movement is purposeful, each lesson imbued with a meaning that extends far beyond mere survival. It's about connection to the land, to the herd, and to each other. This is knowledge being lived, not just learned. But skill alone is not enough. The elders emphasize that ethics are just as crucial. They remind the youth that guarding cattle is not merely a physical task, but a profound moral responsibility. To neglect the herd is to risk the well-being of the entire community, which depends on these animals for its livelihood and cultural identity. Through daily routines and ceremonial observances, the apprentices internalize these principles. They come to understand that courage without care or strength without wisdom is incomplete. A true guard is not just a protector, but a steward, entrusted with the future of their people. Storytelling also serves another purpose. It weaves spiritual understanding into daily practice. The elders speak of ancestors who walk unseen, guiding both the herders and their herds. Sacred rituals, once reserved only for special ceremonial occasions, are now integrated into the daily work. The young guards are taught to show respect for the waterholes, the sacred trees, and the hidden, powerful places of the land. They learn to recognize these sites not just for their practical importance, but for their spiritual resonance. Through this heightened awareness, they cultivate mindfulness, reverence, and the foresight needed to act wisely. Let's pause again. The fire crackles, a steady heartbeat in the cool night air. Picture an apprentice mid-step, suddenly still. He is listening not only to the elder's voice, but to the rustle of the grass, the distant, gentle lowing of the cattle, and the subtle sighs of the wind as it sweeps across the plains. Here, in this deep listening, knowledge expands beyond spoken instruction. It becomes a lived, sensory experiencer, dialogue between the student, the mentor, and the land itself. Mentorship here is a delicate balance of guidance and autonomy. The elders know when to lead and when to step back. They allow the apprentices to make decisions, to lead small sections of the herd on their own, to navigate minor challenges under their watchful, experienced eyes. Success is celebrated quietly, with a nod of approval. Mistakes are corrected with care, always framed as opportunities for growth and resilience. Through this method, the youth gain not just practical competence, but confidence. They also learn humility, understanding their role within the greater fabric of community life. Ceremonial acts serve to reinforce this transmission of knowledge. During special gatherings, apprentices are called upon to perform tasks under the scrutiny of both elders and their peers. They demonstrate the skills they've learned in a context rich with tradition. Songs, chants, and blessings accompany these performances, linking their physical abilities directly with the community's cultural memory. Each successful demonstration is more than just a test of skill. It's a rite of passage that strengthens the apprentice's connection to their people and their enduring heritage. The elders are quick to remind the youth that knowledge is a living thing. It must be carried forward, preserved, and, when necessary, adapted to new challenges. Every new generation adds its own layer of understanding, gleaned from its own unique experiences, observations, and reflections. It is in this way that the wisdom of the Herero cattle guards remains vibrant and relevant, capable of sustaining both the cattle and the community through the ever-shifting seasons of the Namibian plains. Let's take one final pause. The fire has died down to glowing embers. Envision the young guards walking home alongside their elders, their figures silhouetted against a sky glittering with a million stars. The soft lowing of distant cattle echoes across the plains like a lullaby. For them, every step is a lesson. Every shared glance is a measure of what has been learned and what still awaits discovery on the path ahead. Ultimately, the passing of knowledge is also an act of blessing. The elders offer guidance not only on skill, but on character, on patience, on respect, on responsibility. The apprentices internalize these teachings, knowing that their actions will one day shape the future of their herd, their community, and the traditions that have endured for centuries. This cycle of learning is continuous, as constant as the gentle rise and fall of the dunes across the plains, with each generation being shaped by the wisdom of those who came before. Through this careful mentorship, through storytelling, hands-on instruction, ethical guidance, and ceremonial demonstration, the Herero cattle guards ensure that their future is in capable hands. The next generation is ready. They carry forward the values, the skills, and the spiritual insight that define life on the Namibian plains. In learning to guard the cattle, they learn to honor their ancestors, to nurture their community, and to steward the land that sustains them all. The Namibian plains stretch endlessly beneath a twilight sky, the horizon fading into a delicate haze of copper and rose. As night settles, the world slows, and we find ourselves here beneath the eternal stars, reflecting on the quiet, enduring life of the Herero cattle guards. Their days, marked by vigilance, labor, and reverence, have passed before us like the slow, steady march of hooves across sun-baked earth. We walked alongside them from dawn patrols to these evening fires, feeling the profound weight of responsibility they carry in every movement, in every glance toward the herd, in every careful step across the shifting sands. Through this journey, we've come to understand that their story is not just one of survival, but of a deep and powerful connection to their cattle, to their community, to their ancestors, and to the land itself. These vast, open plains teach patience and resilience, lessons that echo far beyond the immediate struggle for sustenance and safety. Let's just pause here for a moment. Listen. The fire crackles gently as the cool night air breathes around us. You can almost imagine the quiet whispers of young apprentices sharing what they've learned today. The elders' subtle, approving nods, and the gentle lowing of cattle settling in the distance. Here, by the fire, every story, every lesson, and every ritual finds its place within the great, unbroken continuum of life, carefully preserved and passed forward from one generation to the next. Throughout our time here, we have witnessed incredible courage and skill in action. We've seen them tracking herds at first light, their eyes reading the land like an open book. We've learned of their readiness to defend the cattle from predators, and their ability to navigate some of the harshest conditions on Earth. The guards' expertise is both immensely practical and deeply spiritual. They move with an awareness that is almost instinctual, their senses perfectly attuned to the land, the animals, the signs of changing weather, and the subtle warnings carried on the wind. Each action, no matter how small it may seem, is part of a larger, intricate tapestry of life completely interwoven with responsibility and care. We have also seen how rituals shape and give meaning to this life. Ceremonies mark important transitions. They affirm social bonds and honor the unseen forces that guide both people and animals. Through these sacred observances, ethical lessons and spiritual understanding are constantly reinforced. This transforms every task, from mending a fence to tracking a water source, into an act of mindfulness and profound respect. In this way, herding becomes more than just a livelihood. It is a philosophy, a living embodiment of values that have been passed down through centuries. Let's pause again. Feel the warmth of the fire. The young guards sit quietly, listening, absorbing, feeling the weight and comfort of tradition settle upon their shoulders. Their eyes, bright with curiosity and a quiet determination, mirror the countless generations of guards before them who learned their most important lessons right here, by firelight, under this very same sky, across these very same plains. The legacy of the Herero cattle guards is both tangible and intangible. You can see it in the sturdy fences that protect the herds, in the health of the cattle, and in the carefully marked tracks that crisscross the plains. But it is just as present in the stories told around these evening fires, in the songs sung to summon strength, in the silent guidance of ancestors, and in the gentle, knowing hands of their mentors. Each element reinforces the other, creating a resilient culture that is both adaptable and firmly rooted in its heritage. As we prepare to leave these plains, this quiet and profound journey, we carry with us more than just knowledge of herding practices. We carry with us the lessons of vigilance, of patience, of courage, and of humility. We now understand, in a much deeper way, the responsibility required to care for other living beings, the vital importance of community, and the sacred balance that must exist between humans and the land. The life of a cattle guard is not just work, it is a moral and spiritual commitment that shapes character and cultivates a deep, abiding respect for all living things. Let's take one last moment. Hear the distant, gentle lowing of the cattle, the wind whispering its ancient secrets across the dunes, and the soft murmurs of the young apprentices as they recount what they have learned. In these final, quiet moments, the plains feel truly alive, their stories carried forward in the silent, unwavering dedication of those who tend to them. As the last embers of the fire glow and the stars shine down in their full glory, we reflect on the powerful continuity of life across the Namibian plains. The knowledge, the rituals, and the ethics of the Herero cattle guards endure, passed carefully and lovingly from one generation to the next. Through their tireless work, they safeguard not only their herds, but their culture, their community, and a profound sense of connection to the world around them. Their story is timeless, a beautiful and potent reminder that life's greatest lessons often lie in quiet perseverance, in reverence for the natural world, and in the hands of those willing to nurture and protect. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If this story moved you, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more stories from around the world. Until next time, stay curious. We have walked alongside them from dawn patrols to evening fires, feeling the weight of responsibility carried in every movement, in every glance toward the herd, in every careful step across shifting sands. By witnessing their life, we understand that their story is not just one of survival, but of connection to cattle, to community, to ancestors, and to the land itself. The plains teach patience and resilience, lessons that echo beyond the immediate struggle for sustenance and safety. CapCut prompt: Herero cattle guards sitting by a twilight fire. Wide Namibian plains behind them, stars beginning to twinkle, traditional attire, calm and reflective atmosphere. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently as the night breathes around us. Imagine the quiet whispers of young apprentices sharing what they have learned, the elders' approving nods, the gentle lowing of cattle in the distance. Here, every story, every lesson, every ritual finds its place within the continuum of life, preserved and passed forward through generations. Throughout the day, we have seen courage and skill in action, from tracking herds at first light to defending cattle from raiders and predators. to navigating the harshest conditions, the Guards' expertise is both practical and spiritual. They move with awareness, their senses attuned to land and animal, to the signs of weather and the subtle warnings of the environment. Each action, no matter how small, is part of a larger tapestry, a life interwoven with responsibility and care. CapCut prompt, Namibian plains at dusk. Silhouetted Herero guards, walking with their herd. Soft glow of sunset casting long shadows, pastoral and serene. We have seen how rituals shape this life. Ceremonies mark transitions, affirm social bonds, and honor the unseen forces that guide both people and animals. Through these observances, ethical lessons and spiritual understanding are reinforced, making every task, from fence repair to water tracking, an act of mindfulness and respect. In this way, herding is more than a livelihood. It is a philosophy, a living embodiment of values passed down through centuries. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently as the night breathes around us. The young guards sit quietly, listening, absorbing, feeling the weight and warmth of tradition. Their eyes, bright with curiosity and determination, mirror the countless generations before them who learned by firelight, under the same sky, across the same plains. The legacy of the Herero cattle guards is both tangible and intangible. It is found in the sturdy fences, the healthy herds, and the carefully marked tracks of the plains. It is equally present in the stories told around evening fires, the songs sung to summon strength, the silent guidance of ancestors, and the gentle hands of mentors. Each element reinforces the other, creating a resilient culture, adaptable yet firmly rooted in heritage. CapCut prompt, evening on the Namibian plains, Herero guards tending their herds under a starry sky, gentle firelight illuminating faces, sense of calm and continuity. As we leave the plains behind in this quiet journey, we carry with us more than knowledge of herding practices. We carry lessons of vigilance, patience, courage, and humility. We understand the depth of responsibility required to care for living beings, the importance of community, and the sacred balance between humans and the land. The life of a cattle guard is not just work. It is a moral and spiritual commitment that shapes character and cultivates respect for all living things. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently as the night breathes around us. Hear the distant lowing of cattle, the wind whispering across the dunes, the soft murmurs of young apprentices recounting what they have learned. In these moments, the plains feel alive, their stories carried forward in the quiet dedication of those who tend them. Finally, as the stars shine above and the fire dies down, we reflect on the continuity of life across the Namibian plains. The knowledge, rituals, and ethics of Herero cattle guards endure, passed carefully from one generation to the next. Through their work, they safeguard not only herds, but culture, community, and a profound sense of connection to the land. Their story is timeless, a reminder that life's greatest lessons often lie in quiet perseverance, in reverence for the natural world, and in the hands of those willing to nurture and protect. You are now under baobab skies.